Hi Crafty friend, it's me, Justine. I am going to show you, well first happy April. Happy April Fool's Day. I'm going to show you the stitching club for April. This one is called the Stitched Wall Hanging. I'm going to make 2 cards today, and then I have one in the wing, if you will, that is a shaker card and a stitching. So I hope you're excited. I know I am. And let's get to stitching. So first of all, this is a really cool design. This one is the one I'm talking about that uses the actual frame from the club kit. I'll pop a picture on the screen of the packaging from Spellbinders. But this club really reminds me of my grandma. So my sweet grandma, who was on my dad's side, was big into embroidery, and one of the things that I received after she had died was a set of wall hangings that were for the seasons. And I love it. I think it is so sweet. It hangs in our bathroom downstairs. So every season I change out the season. And there's also a one for Christmas. So spring, summer, autumn, winter, and then there's a special one for Christmas, and it is just so sweet. Right now I can't wait to put the summer one out because I'm so excited for summer this year. I don't think it can come any sooner, especially since all of a sudden this week, this is March still when I'm filming this, but we got 2 feet of snow. I mean, what? It's just weird. We've already had 70-degree weather, but you know, that's kind of how it goes with the weather, up and down. Anyway, for my stitching, if you have any questions about stitching, by the way, I did put out a whole series on my channel called Stitching 101. So basically from that video, the stitch I'm using on this one is the circle stitch. I'm just going to go around my center hole here and just simply go down the center and up the outsides. And it's really a very enjoyable yet simple process that really just is a fun texture for cards. I love stitching. I hope that one day I can put out a collection with Spellbinders that has stitching. That's like one of my bucket list items, if you will. So who knows, maybe one day. For these cards, I'm going to kind of lean in on the Mother's Day theme of it all. I am preparing myself quite a few Mother's Day cards this year. I already have the one for my mom and my mother-in-law finished. Unfortunately, all of my grandmothers have died, so I don't have one for them. I will be giving one to my aunt, who is so awesome. I love her so much. And so I really only need 3 of these Mother's Day cards, and then the rest of them are going to head over to the boutique that I sell some of my cards at, and people seem to really enjoy the stitching ones. It just really adds that special touch when there's embroidery floss on a project like this. It looks like you spent forever on it, and you know, sometimes with stitching projects you can spend a long time on, especially the ones that are full frame stitching. But these little flowers I think are perfect for popping onto projects and adding just like a little special flair, if you will. And then I did go Mother's Day, so you can see I have a Mother's Day sentiment here and here. And this one on my left was from Yana's new collection that came out in March. And this one over here is from the Spellbinders collection that came out also in March. And I really liked both of them for different reasons. So first of all, I liked Yana's this Mother's Day because it is a standalone one. So you can put it on 2 different projects and have it all kind of coordinate with a BetterPress plate or with the glimmer. But then also these ones are the style of how they designed the actual press plate, and how you can press and glimmer with it is you can press once and glimmer once, and then you get 4 sentiments all from a very simple kind of step. And I think that is the ticket when when making projects, I can't think of the word, when designing the plates, if you will. But it is a special thing that the BetterPress can glimmer and press. It is unlike other things. So if you haven't tried BetterPressing, give it a try. What are you waiting for? It's really neat. Now with this one, I'm going to put a center stitching on here. You can see I have those all set. Those are really basic circle stitch that I did there. There's also stitch leaves. I chose not to use these this time just because I wanted to keep this a little bit simple, but basically with the leaf, I do go over that in my Stitching 101 video. It is going up and then going over. It is, I think I put that under this section of back stitching. So if you're curious, you can go ahead and check that out. But it is a fairly simple stitch as well, which is kind of fun because sometimes you don't want to think about where things go or how it all connects. You just want to stitch and kind of take a break, a mental break. Stitching is something that I like to take on the go. It's something I can do hanging out with my family. I've brought over little stitching boxes and sat with my family and stitched, as we caught up and chatted. But also you can watch movies and stitch. There's, you can do it on a plane, do it on a bus. I feel like that Dr. Seuss song or Dr. Seuss book that, anyway, I digress. That's the kindergarten teacher in me coming out. But stitching is awesome, if I do say so myself. Okay, now with this one, I am going to stitch it a little differently. You can see I'm kind of making these little patterns. I'm ignoring this hole because it's going to get covered up with this. So I'm basically just creating a little bit of some veins on the petal. So I'm going in that center one and then just going around my petal here. And then I am going to share this one. Is going to be shared between the two. So hopefully from this you can know exactly what to do and be inspired, or maybe you know what to do. I mean, these stitching elements aren't too difficult from each other. Once you kind of start stitching, you kind of know how things will go. You can look at examples and know kind of the holes, but I'm still going to make these stitching tutorials because there are new people to stitching every month. There's new people that sign up, and I know that when I started stitching, I wish that there would be more simple tutorials. So if that is you, make sure to check out my Stitching 101 playlist. There's just 2 videos and they're very informative about what you need, what you don't need. A lot of times people want you to buy all these extra stuff. You don't need everything. Just use what you got. And then the second video is the stitching and the actual stitches. So yeah, I hope to add to that playlist eventually. I want to add some French knots to that playlist. I'm not an expert on the French knots yet, so I want to wait until I really have it down and feel super confident about it before I film, so I can give you something that is a good product, if you will. But if you're dying to know about the French knot, I'm sure that there are tutorials already on YouTube that you could find. But like I said, I really wanted something online on YouTube specifically that I could learn how to do stitching with one die. So I just wanted to be able to type in like balloon stitching, and if I had the balloon die, I knew exactly how to do it. So again, that's just kind of what I'm hoping to create here online for you and for others, of course. All right, so now that that is all taken care of, I can go ahead and kind of assemble my first card here. I did pull in this, which is a really fun die. And, well, it's multiple dies, but this makes an embroidery floss. How cute is that? That's from the small die of the month. This month I did walk through kind of all the clubs, and that was because I have had people request that in the past. So that is the video right before this one that I posted, and you can see all the different clubs and how they coordinate together this month very nicely. They don't always coordinate together, so when they do, I think it's extra special and super fun to combine different clubs together. Now, these panels that I'm holding now here in my hand are from the Mirrored Arch collection, and that came out in March and Arch, okay? Again, kindergarten teacher. Anytime there's a rhyme, my brain is like, they rhyme because they say the same sound at the end. Anyway, no one needed to know that, but whatever. Okay, anyway, I digress. That's from the Mirrored Arch collection. This is the regular embossing folder of the month. For this month, I used that on this project as well, and it is kind of a stitchy fun look. So let's lay out my sentiments here. Well, not my sentiments, my die cut pieces. I went the teal and pink route. I don't know why, but these colors really spoke to me this month when I was planning out all of my club videos. I have a few that kind of deviate from that, but good grief, I was all about pink and teal this month. Okay, now this one you can see I'm kind of rounding it a little bit. It's not necessary, but look at that dimension. I think that is just really fun. You can barely even tell what's the front and back here. Ooh, I think I did a good job on that. Okay, I say that humbly, I promise. Okay, we'll move that down, and then I have my sentiment here. I'm gonna pop that up with some foam for sure. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just center that in the top and then just kind of swing these over a little bit more. I think this would be a really fun Mother's Day card for my mom because she is interested in embroidering. But I already have one for her that's all Yorkie themed, so she's gonna love it. I just know, Mom, if you're watching, well, I think you've seen the card already on one of my videos, so, you know, just act surprised. Mother's Day's not for another month. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and glue all of this down. I will speed it up just a little bit for the sake of time. I thought another touch for this card that would be kind of cute is to add this needle and thread. So I'm going to just add a tiny bit of glue onto just some sections of the thread, enough for it to kind of stay, but not get too mushy. And then I did die cut out the needle in gold mirror cardstock, which is just extra special if you ask me. So I'm going to sneak that kind of right about, well, kind of wanted it to look like it was stitched with like the flowers, but I don't know if that's gonna happen now. Maybe we'll just stick it kind of like that. Where in the world are my tweezers when I need them? You know, I just cleaned up my craft room because I thought that if I did that, then I would be so inspired when I am filming and crafting, and it'll be this whole lovely thing. And I can't find things now. So I definitely need to work on the organization factor, if you will, when I move into my new space. Well, technically my old space, but it's gonna feel completely brand new because if you don't know, that whole space was gutted down to the studs. Anyway, okay, well, I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna film me making this, but it will be sped up. And then I will show you my third card at the end. Again, it's just for time. I can't have hour-long videos on YouTube. It doesn't reach as many people, and people don't really seem to like that anyway. So we're gonna do that and I will also film putting together this frame since that is part of this die set. So let's just chat about that before I speed up. So the frame itself, to get the brown part, I use the biggest piece, which is a cutting die, and then this piece, which is kind of the edge to make that frame look like a frame, and then I use the smallest one to make the white section. So that's the story with these dies. I think that's it. We're gonna leave it at that. All right, we'll see it in just a bit. I'll pop back on to show you that last card. Now that I've finished my 2 cards, let's show you the last one. I like this one because I added the little cluster of gems. I think that really is a fun little touch. My last one is a shaker card. So you can see I have my shaker window there. I used a frame from Trinity Stamps. I'll pop that in the description as well. But I have my stitch flower here. I use those same flower leaves on here. I use these sequins from Spellbinders, the needle and thread. This happy is from the small die, again with the needles. I put 3 there. I don't know, these look a little pokey, but you know, the stitching theme is carried without here. And then the You Are In My Life is from the stamp. The border to cut that out is from the glimmer. This embossing thread bobbin is from the large die. So it really is just kind of a conglomeration of a bunch of them. The only thing I wish I would have done in this one is to take this beautiful velvet rose paper here that I used on the front cover and used one of the embossing folders, but it's fun nevertheless. I don't even know if that's how I would say that, but anyway, it's nice to see. It still is a really fun card, and I like having that big piece in there. I know it's kind of clunky, but to me, it's just, it works. So there's that. I used all Spellbinders paper for this as well. I'm really just leaning into their paper. I just think it's unmatched, unbeatable. So there you go. There's my take on the Stitching Club. 3 different ways. They kind of coordinate, not really, I don't know. They kind of go together, but not the same. So I hope I gave you some fun ways to kind of coordinate different things together, especially with the clubs being pretty similar this month. So anyway, like I said, happy April, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.